Good evening, and welcome back to the Spirit of Watercolor with Linda. I've actually been taking a break from making videos, and I'm trying to refocus on a lot of things other than doing this YouTube channel with my art. But I would like to get back into it. I am going on vacation next week, so welcome back. Please check out prior videos. There's a lot of them here. I'm thinking 130 at least at this point. So I'm glad you're here and subscribing, and I would like to move into fall now. We just did finish some seashell paintings you might want to look at with the starfish and 2 seashells, which I think came out quite well. And I'd like to start to work into some fall-autumn topics now, because yesterday was the first day of autumn. And it's a beautiful season, isn't it? And this is a very spiritual medium, this watercolor, of which we can get those flowing colors of watercolor in an up-close leaf, or back in the fall scenes of the trees and the different colors they're becoming, and use some of our beautiful earth tone painting, or paints, watercolor paints. Like, I just ordered a tube of Raw Sienna, a beautiful one by Holbein Watercolors, which I used to have. I have some small tubes. I've mainly been using Daniel Smith watercolors for a long time, and there's some beautiful colors in there that we'll look at too, that are what I call the autumn fall colors. And we'll do some fast and loose, but very, you'll feel successful in painting, whether it's the large leaf, which is one of these of the 2 I want to do, or large leaf, close-up of leaves, and looking at those intricate colors within a leaf. And then the others that I'd like to look at are, more the scenes of autumn and fall. And I'm going to be at Sutton's Bay, and there's going to be some beautiful things where the leaves are in the rocks by the water of the bay. Gorgeous. And so I will be sketching there, and hopefully you'll see some of that on the next in the next few weeks. But for this week, I'm just going to focus in on sketching some leaves and painting them, and then we'll get some of those colors going and talk about the colors. So see me at the table real soon. I'm looking forward to doing this with you this week, and we'll start to enjoy the beauty of the colors that are starting to come out in autumn. And happy autumnal equinox to you, and let's move into this beautiful time of year together and explore the beauty of watercolors and how spiritual they are, how they connect us to the beauty of the wonderful earth that we're on. Okay, I'll see you there, and please like and subscribe. See you.
So I love this scene. It's on the beach. The water's as you go out toward, from the sand upward there, the beach is up there, and but you get closer and you see the beauty of these leaves in early autumn, where the colors have been turning and falling off the trees, and there's just flecks of browns and reds on them, and beautiful earth tones we can use here. So I'm going to zoom in, and we're going to look at some of these leaves close up, and of course they're in with some little lavender or purple, I don't know, kind of a in between lavender and purple wildflowers, which are beautiful as well. And I just think that this would be a nice way to study. You can go as close or as away from these as you like. And I just want to do 2 paintings here. I want to do a close-up like this, where I study the colors, details, and the textures and so forth in the painting, using brush and non-brush technique. And then we will go to pulling back into the whole scene, and do another painting in the next video, where we have the whole beach in. These are smaller in the foreground, and then we have the water, the bay, the beautiful Sutton's Bay in the background, and you'll see a picture in just a moment of that. And you can see that the bay is just out there at the top of the picture. I've got the horizon line way up. Can change it again. The wonder of the tablet that we have now, that you can draw right from your tablet. You can change the composition very easily to whatever size and placement you want.
Okay, so you can see my tablet here, and I, was zooming in. It was way back like that, right? And I'm zooming in, getting in most of the flowers and leaves and a little bit of the land and texture here. And there's grasses, which we can do. I may use masking fluid to make the lines a little more pronounced and some of the stems of the leaves. And then we'll draw that here with our drawing pencils and our paper. This is an Arches paper. So I drew up my my picture, and you can see there's the flowers are up here, and the grasses. I've masked all this out after drawing it. So when we have some of the grasses that are growing around, and these what I call periwinkle flowers, they're kind of a periwinkle pink or purple, lavender, and then we'll put in some of the, after we put in some of the beautiful raw sienna and the beach and so forth, and then we'll come in and lift out the masking fluid, and then we'll bring in some of these grasses on the ground and these beautiful things that were growing, and the leaves. And there'll be even beautiful yellows and the colors of the leaves in our photograph. So, and I've taped this down, just a tiny bit of edge on the tape. I didn't want to get, I don't want to lose too much of my paper. It's not that large, and so I have the mat will go around that nicely. So we're going to start to bring in those lovely colors, the lightest values first, and then we'll bring in the details of the leaves and so forth. So stay with me, and this will be a lovely painting on the bay, the beach in the autumn on the bay. Can just wet this entire page, right? And that's the beauty of wet on wet. But when you've got your details locked in of your shapes, and some of the grasses and so forth, then they're held, so I can get in there and get loose. I want to let that set for a minute while I bring in some of my colors to my palette. And I want to, now this is my regular palette, and I've got some beautiful darks in there. I don't think I have my raw sienna there. I do have some nice yellows that I can mix and actually create my own raw siennas if I wish. I don't even need to use that brand new color, but I really love it. And I'm trying to think where I put it. I think it's right there on the top of the palette, if I'm not mistaken. Now I want to think about sort of the beautiful sandy color. It's a little more gray. So I might actually take this sepia color, which is, it's a very neutrally, almost I wouldn't say gray, but it's a brown that's very brown. And it's on there as well on this palette, and I find it to be almost a chocolate or something. And if you really loosen that up, you can see it kind of can really gray out nice and light, right? And there's a little red here too, a little bit of a sienna, burnt sienna there. You can even bring a little bit of that in there and make it a little more earthy. Don't be afraid to just play with mixing your colors and seeing if you can just eyeball what you think the color is.
I just want to mention that I saturated the color a bit because it's really hard to see it on the video because the color I'm using is a very light value. And I'm just mixing those colors, a little bit of the sienna mixed with the sepia and back and forth, just because the sand, depending on where the sun is hitting it, is, slightly different colors. And also note that I am leaving the white on the paper where the leaves are and going around them. Yes. And as the paper is drying, I can add more value and it'll hold more, close and around where there's shadows under the leaves and around the leaves. And then I add some salt because I wanted more texture. It would appear more like sand if you have some texture into the sand where the sun glistens on the beach. And remember, when you put salt on, that you don't want to move the paper until it's dry. So try not to bump your gator board or move things.
One more look at this, and I again added more dabs of Raw Sienna and that umber as it's drying, and hopefully the salt is setting in too. Now we're going to take all this salt off, and then we're going to also there's a lot of salt on there. And then we're going to take off the masking fluid as well with our masking fluid remover. But only where I have the sand or the paint on there and not, oh, I see the texture. That's good. From the salt. It's very good there. And then there's the masking fluid, which I've left on too long, but it'll probably be all right. Sometimes they say the acid is eating your paper, but I don't know how much a problem that is. And then we'll lift this out, as you'll see here with the masking fluid remover. It'll pull off for the flowers and things like that. Let's see how it comes off. Oh, it should come off. Ooh, okay. Like that. Let's see how it will do that. I'm not going to do all this on the tape, but you'll see how this works like that. Okay. So I took all the masking fluid, or not all of it, some of it off, not in the center where it's all not painted on yet, because there I want to keep some of the details there, but where the sand is, I did take it off. And I took the tape off for now because of the salt. It was hard to get all that off. It was getting under the tape. So I'm going to put the tape back on, and then we're going to use some of these earth colors for our leaves and make a really lovely periwinkle purple up here for the little flowers up at the top. I'm going to use my pointed rounds, the larger one and the smaller, and if I need to cover a large area, I can use my smaller flat. It's a 1/2 inch flat. So let's get the colors mixed and off we go. So the first thing I've added is just one of these little, I mixed some of this rose of ultramarine and I mixed in a little cobalt to just take it down to a little more of a almost purple. That's the color that I was seeing of these little purple wildflowers. There's some of these in my garden in the park behind us here, and yet they're more blue, but these ones had a more of a pinky purple tone to them, and they were so lovely. So I'm going to put them up in these as well. And I guess I need a little bit thinner brush because it was a little too thick. So maybe that number 4 can get in. And then we'll do the same up here. Take the masking fluid off of those. There wasn't really any over there, but I could put one over there if I'd like. But I'm gonna go with what I saw in nature. And then here, as you see, I'll probably get my head in the way, but I want to kind of come in where those are. Sometimes they were more sparse and sometimes they were more full, you know. So, yeah. Yeah, the masking fluid might still be there a little bit, but that's okay. So that's what we're going to be doing. And okay, so after putting in the rest of these little flowers, I wanted to start to put in some of the leaves, and I will do that and show you the photo in a moment, but I'm putting in a light wash of even color, and then once they dry I can add more value and some of the sediment, you know, there's spots and markings on them that of detail that we can add on to those as well. So you'll see that soon too. So here again is my picture, and I see that I want to put in some of the grasses and dark areas under the leaves, and so I'm going to look at that and just, you know, check out the leaves and get the basic shapes and colors in. So let's go ahead. Okay, you'll see me just laying in with my nice big flat brush here, and coming in with these as well as with the large pointed round again. Okay, so let's move this out of the way, and we'll come in with our leaves and so forth here.
And so here I'm just putting in leaves wherever I, you know, see them on the photograph, but I'm changing the colors to be more colorful because some of the leaves were pretty pale and not very interesting colors. I want more vibrant, you know, beautiful colors on the leaves, even though, you know, I'm still varying the values and the colors. Now I'm adding some darker values, the dark green, forest green, and the browns, you know, like sepia and so forth, underneath the leaves to pop them out, to bring contrast so that you'll see them better. Love that forest green. And yes, I'm defining some grasses there, but also it's pretty loose. I'm doing it, you know, it's not like every detailed little grass, but you'll get the idea. You'll see that it's grass. You'll know it's grass. And I always like to remind you to work around the page. You'll see me working around and not just being in one spot working on that, but going all around the page, filling in, looking at it as a whole painting, not just a little flower or a little leaf,
Adding some just browns in some of the ground, a little more strong colored in the foreground here. Just wet on wet, letting that kind of flow here and flow here around the leaves so they pop a little more.
You'll see that I am adding more value as I go, and having at least 5 values will create more perspective. So I'll keep going in, even probably beyond this demonstration. And also detailing here, also I will be detailing where you see where I've taken the masking fluid off. I still need to color those in, those, stems and so forth. And as we finish, if you look real close, I started to put in some of the specks and flecks on the leaves, but I didn't quite get there. I want to finish this video up, and you can see where I may need to add in a little more detail and some, like I say, some little flecks and specks on the certain leaves there, because they are, aging as they're on the ground. I want to thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's been fun, and just love being on the beach in the fall, in the autumn. It's just a beautiful time. I hope you'll try something like this, and will join me again soon for the next wonderful, fun Spirit of Watercolor video. Thanks for joining me.